Do do do. I don't know where I am right now. Okay, so I think we're up and going. All right, this is the first time I've had it on time, ready to go. But alas, I'm by myself. But that's okay. Um, I have absolutely no problem talking to myself. That's usually what I do for most of the day. Well, I mean, unless you count my dogs, but they have conversations with me too. That doesn't make me crazy. That just, it's just because I'm a loving pet parent, I guess. Okay, let's see here. All right. Gotta shuffle a few things around because, you know, you can't see any of this, but my recording studio, which, is my coffee table. Um, if you've been here before, is, you know, well, a little messy because I started on time. I just wasn't really too ready to go, but you know, I'm getting there. Um, I actually remembered how to do everything today. It took me a few minutes. Um, but you know, here we are. So let's see if I have everything down right. Um, join for chat. The origin story. I have a few people that said they were going to be in here. Um, but they're probably used to my normal. I said it was going to be 7:07, so if they were here by 7:15, they'd still be early. Not anymore. Well, not today. I remember how to do my shit. I should say I didn't forget to do anything. Um, that'd be more along the lines of how it works. Oh yeah, remember the first week I was playing around with those? Some of these buttons. But I'm still not exactly sure how everything goes. So I'm waiting for Anthony to get in here. Just there was a brief, well, not really brief. It happened over the last hour. Back and forth. Twitter conversation. But I figured it would just be easier for me to talk to him face to computer screen than it would just to be typing back and forth and um, you know. So I don't know who else I have in here. Say hi. Let me know who you are. Let me know you're in here. Um, today's the origin story, and I'm stealing a DFTG from Johnny Grasso, or Johnny Grasso's DFTG. Um, for a few people. Well, I mean, for me, and then some people have it worse than me. But oh, what's going on, Chase? So there's that, and there's that. If I was any good at this, I'd write down what I wanted to talk about, but I always figure, oh, I'll know, I'll remember. And um, well, that's cool. You do what you got to do, brother. Um, yeah, you know, I always figure, you know, I'll know what's going on, and then I get talking and I get distracted, but go off on my tangents. I need a couple of my regular guys to pull me back from it. So yeah, that's about it. Um, well, let's see. Chase, since you're here, if you're going to be here for a couple minutes, I guess I can open up a pop or two for you. I mean, you just told me you're going to be in and out. I don't know if you left that message and left, but you know, I figure since I know you because of Funko Pops, and I do not collect Funko Pops. I do not collect Pops. They just somehow end up around at my house, coming out of my bank account. All right, give me 1 second. I got See, I'm looking. I got 4 Smuggler's Bounty boxes up there to open. 4 or 5. I have the one that just came yesterday, last night while I was at work. But I know I got a couple little things. It's funny because I'm looking at myself and I look like an idiot. I'm just staring at the ceiling, looking around, and no one has any idea what I'm talking about. Well, you guys do because you can hear me. I can't hear myself. All right, Chase. Do you want the I mean, there's a good chance they're both Star Wars because, um, you know, except for the Batman one that I got the other day and the Stranger Things I got the other day. Um, they're all Star Wars. So do you want the good one or the not so good one? Because you're gonna get them. Well, I don't know how. All right, I'm just gonna do it this way because it's easiest. So I opened up the box on this. The box it came in. But oh, we have RFB and Charles here. Howdy, fellas. We're doing a pop opening for Chase. I needed the box for something, which goes into my DFTG, but that's besides the point. So we'll just very carefully open it up, and because I learned something last week, that's what this whole thing's about. Learning and sharing and having some fun. Oh no, this one over here shows me. Oh no, that's my volume. I don't want that. Okay. Alright, so hopefully we don't have the glare on this one. It is Darth Vader. The red chrome, I guess it is. It's a Target exclusive. Get a little better in there. See, that's what happened to me last week. I was trying to look at my good computer screen and looking at it, and I was saying, "Oh, there's not enough light." not realizing that there's not enough light because I made my computer screen have less light so that there was no glare. But I just looked at my side one that I have that I need to use to see how things are, and I guess it's okay now. Well, it's a little bit high, but alright, so it's number 157. These are the ones that came out with it. I don't even know what they are. Oh, Zuckuss, Endor Luke, Dagobah, Yoda, Princess Leia Hoth, Hooded Luke Skywalker, and the Empire Spy Guardian? I'm not even sure who that guy is. I might have to get him just because I don't know who he is. I'm sure he's in one of my many books over there. But that's that. Yeah, I like him, but it depends on the one. Um, like I like Darth Vader in the red chrome, um, but I don't like him in the yellow. I like Yoda in the green chrome, but I don't like him in a lot of the other colors. The blue chrome ones that they had at Celebration, I really didn't like any of them. Um, you know, not to say that I wouldn't take them for. They were $12 a piece, and they're selling for 100 or 150. Some of them are down to 75 now, but you know, I mean, I would have gotten them just to hold on to from Celebration. That's what I'm trying to find. I couldn't get. Um, who the hell they have there? Um, Darth Maul was there, and Watto, and I want those two, and I can find them really easily, but I want the ones with the Star Wars Celebration sticker that were there just because I was there. I wouldn't care that, you know, they came out at Celebration and you can buy them at any store, at Walgreens or whatever stores have them. I just want those specific ones because I was at that celebration. It was my first celebration. Just like the Mandalorian that's came out at San Diego Comic-Con was 12 or 15 bucks there. It's selling for on eBay 100, 150 bucks, somewhere around 120, somewhere around the same thing. I want one. I want one now, but I don't want one for that price. So on Force Friday when they come out, I'm going to pick one up and I'm going to spend 15 bucks on it. This is my Last Jedi cup. That's from the movie theater. I found this really cool theater by my house. It's about 15 minutes away. Hop on the bus and you're there. Mr. Rez is here. Thanks for joining us. And it's all the theaters are a lot smaller. It's $10 a ticket, which I don't know what ticket prices are where you are, but it's $18 in New York City for just a regular movie, or $16. You know, a couple more dollars for 3D, $26 or $32 depending where you go for 4D, which depending on the movie, the 4D can be worth it, I think. That's where I saw Solo. I saw it the first time I saw it was in 4D, and on opening night, and it was like a ride from Disneyland or Disney World or whatever. I mean, it was just and watching it too, and the seat moving around and getting sprayed with water and all that shit, and the smells, even though everything smells like olive rind. Um, so it's the burning smells and everything. It's just all that one smell. So it was definitely worth it. It reminded me of the first time I went to Disney when I was a kid. I don't know, when I was probably 8 years old or something like that. It was just the whole time. Um, but all right. Anyways, so now that I'm talking about nothing. Whoa. Sorry, I'm being rude. I just got some notifications and I looked at it and there's like 20 of them. Okay, so yeah, I mean, $7. I would love to pay $7 for a show. I don't even think it's when I'm back visiting my parents in Buffalo, or when I was living in North Carolina. That was still a lot more than that, but not like it is here. So everybody, let's hope that we have a nice clean stream like we did for stream number 2. That kind of seems weird to say. But the first live stream ended up breaking up into 2, and my one I did the other day for my unboxing was 2. So, oh no, I wasn't being rude to say anything. Because I looked down, I had all the notifications, and I was gonna check and see who it was that was talking to me. But if they want to tell me something, if it's important enough, they can hop on here and type me a message if they want. It's not my girlfriend. She knows not to bother me right now, even though maybe it is. I don't know. Nope, it wasn't her. Oh no, this is my boss telling me to sign up for a D23 membership, um, so that I can get a discount on Disney Plus, but it has to be done by tonight. That was the text message I got. That's the only thing that matters. Um, but okay, so I mean, go watch A New Hope, and I'll see you next week. Um, but okay. Oh, so Earl Farm Boy. Now, when I post whatever the podcast that I listen to, that's from the last time I posted. So, like, I posted yesterday going into work at 4 o'clock. Um, Anything I post is from that post until I post the next time, or it was earlier today. Um, I posted, and then I left the house. I got on the train, and I listened to one podcast. It was 48 or 52 minutes long or something like that. Hey, what's going on, Indo? How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Um, and then I listened to another half of one, and then I was able to listen to another one or one and a half while I was getting done working, and listen to another one on the way home, listen to another couple on the way home, or when I got home, and then, I walk my dogs and get something to eat and do whatever. So, that 2 hours, everything I'm listening to, um, everything's on double speed. except for Bad Motivators when Eric Struthers does the music one. Um, just because I was listening at double speed and it was like death metal when he was playing something, so I had to turn that one down. Um, yeah, whatever I post, I've already listened to. Um, and it's all at double speed, and it's like tomorrow. Depending on what's going on with my insomnia, depends on how much I sleep, and then I I'll be up. I'm working a couple mornings this week, so I'll be up at 7 in the morning. Well, I say mornings. I have to be there at 11, but I have to get up and do whatever and walk the dogs. And my one dog's old, so sometimes it takes me a while to eat her because I gotta make her remember to eat because she's 15 and has got the Alzheimer's, and doggy Alzheimer's and doesn't remember to eat or whatever it is. Um, and you know, there's 3 hours, 4 hours before I go into work at double time. That's 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of podcasts I can listen to, and that's just you know to start the day off. Not to mention, on my break, and if I get to, you know, I guess the new thing is when I listen at work, it's rebelling because I'm not allowed to. Um, and then there's another episode or two I get to listen to, and then another episode or two I guess to listen to on the way home, and taking care of the dogs and feeding them again. So, I'm at 10, probably 10 episodes without really doing anything, because you got to remember you put 7x7 in there, or a couple of the other ones that are a half hour, and that makes up for those hour and a half, 2 hour ones that they all equal out to pretty much about an hour then. Indo Nerd wants to know what I thought about the Rise of Skywalker trailer. Um, I wasn't really that impressed. Talked about it the other night. Um, it was more of. It was more set up more to get people talking about things, because I don't think a lot of the things that are in there are what they seemed. Um, C-3PO isn't bad. Rey didn't turn bad. C-3PO isn't Mr. Bones or whatever. A lot of the speculation that people have in there. Rey throwing the lightsaber. It's a different. When the lightsaber comes back to her, is different than her throwing it and it coming back to her. It could have been before, because it doesn't matter. If you watch the video, that's you can see that her body. I know cameras can be different, but she has something in a stick or a log or whatever in her one hand and doesn't have it when she's throwing the lightsaber. Unless she pulled it up right away. I don't really. It was. It's hard to explain, because chances are, if you're watching, I know the people that are on here, and I consider them hardcore Star Wars fans. For the most part, the 4 or 5 people I know pretty well, and not to take away from anyone else what their knowledge that they have, or how much enjoyment, or how much they like something, or whatever. But I think it was meant more for them, to get them, oh yeah, that movie, it's a year and a half old, and a lot of people didn't like the other one, but this one looks like it's going to be good again, or just something along those lines. You know, us really big Star Wars fans are going to be interested in it no matter what. You know, they could have showed Rey sitting there knitting, um, or crocheting a holder for her lightsaber, and we would have been like, "Oh my god!" You know, talking about, and then we'd all go out and learn how to knit and crochet so that we could make our own. Um, but you know, I don't know if it's because I was at Celebration and I already saw a lot of footage, or the footage that was shown to people at Celebration, it was geared towards the footage that was shown to people to the. All right, hang on, let me start over here. The footage that was shown to people at Celebration was definitely geared towards a different crowd or a different group of people that were um, that the most recent trailer or teaser, whatever you want to call it, um, was geared to. Um, you know, it's just the things they showed at Celebration were, you know, Rey jumping over Kylo Ren's TIE fighter, and then the whole conversation was, you know, well, was it Kylo Ren or not? And then everyone talking about that, where the stuff they showed in this one, um, you know, everyone knows who C-3PO is, like drunk C-3PO. Maybe maybe 3PO is drunk. That's why his eyes were red. He's got the bloodshot eyes. I don't know. Um, but you know, I mean, it's just it was a lot of speculation and everybody talking on YouTube, and you know that's part of the reasons I can't catch up on all my podcasts, because a lot of them went from 45 minutes from to an hour to two and a half. Some of them were 3 hours long. Even at listening at double time, you know, that's still a lot to get through. I'm almost caught up to all of the podcasts that came out by today. That's only on my one podcatcher. My other one, I'm a couple days behind, but I don't have many on that one. It's just the ones that don't show up on um, Podbean or BeanPod or whatever. Um, but I don't like the Google. Um, I don't like the Google podcatcher, caster, whatever, because when I'm done listening to it, I have to stop and it erases it. Instead of, I don't have any history of what I listened to, so when I go and I tell everybody what I listened to, um, you know, I got to stop every time and try and figure out some way to um, write it down. Okay, so um, you guys wanted to know the origin story of the TooMedToo Channel. You were asking about that the last couple of weeks, and I was um, not putting it off. You know, I plan on talking about for a half hour or an hour, and an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I'm like, all right, you guys, it's been long enough. So that's why I said the first thing before we do any Star Wars talk, um, we're gonna start it off with the origin. So we're a half hour into it. I think that's about started off enough. So I was born in '78, so growing up, Star Wars was always around. Um, you know, my earliest memory was probably right after Empire, and I was over at my cousin's house, and they were a couple years older than me. Um, so they had all the Star Wars toys and everything. I remember specifically the Cloud Car, um, and I thought that was the coolest thing, just the way it was. And I was probably 4 years old, 5 years old, or whatever. And they had the um, Darth Vader carrying case for all the figures. So that was pretty much one of my first memories. And we had HBO, and my dad was the king of taping everything off of HBO, and um, whatever, when everything was labeled. So it's like for a couple of years, it was like I knew the Karate Kid came out in 1984 because it was on there. Um, you know, uh, so I was watching Star Wars that way because it was taped off of um, HBO, and I was always a huge Star Wars fan. Um, I was born in Buffalo, and then born and raised in Buffalo. And then I moved to North Carolina. I was in North Carolina for about 10 years, and now I've been in New York City for 7, 6, a little more than a handful of years. Um, but I never got into the EU books because I didn't like reading. I never had a lot of comic books because I always destroyed them. So I just kind of had the movies, and that was it. Whenever, when I was older, and when you're a teenager and you don't want your family buying you any, well, you want them buying you presents for birthdays, Christmas, whatever the occasion. Um, they'd always get me Star Wars stuff because I liked Star Wars. When the prequel trilogy came out, I went to go see them in the theaters. I remember going to see them, but not concrete that much. I was more into drinking and chasing tail. I was 21 years old, 20 years old. Um, you know, and I went to go see the movies, and that was it. Had AOL, or had a computer, but the only thing you really got on there was AOL. Um, that's what I thought. That's all I ever used it for. I didn't know that there was so much more. Like listening to some of the guys talk about what they were finding on the Star Wars chat rooms from that time, but still a big Star Wars fan, just never really um, kind of different priorities, I guess you'd say. um, and then the new set of movies came out, and 2005 or 2015, I saw Rogue. I was in Buffalo. I saw Rogue One, and I saw The Force Awakens um, with my father, which was good because him and I didn't get along because I was kind of an asshole as a teenager growing up. So it was kind of, we had a strained relationship. Of course, it was both our faults, but mainly just it was because of me. And then, like I said, Solo I was here for. Um, the Last Jedi. I'm pretty sure I was here for Jedi. I could have been in Buffalo though. No, I was here. Um, but so right before Solo came out, I was on disability too for a little while, um, for a couple years, and then I was off disability. Still on disability, going to school. I was still on disability and going to school, um, and I was just really bored. So this is where the TooMedToo part comes into it. And before that, I was worked in restaurants, restaurant management, everything. Um, worked at some nice restaurants and stuff. And just I had enough. I was like, don't really feel like going back into restaurant management. Um, when I'm off my disability, and I was going to school, and I decided I was going to go to school for nursing, and I was getting into watching more back into Star Wars, um, and decided I wanted to make some Star Wars friends. I was watching a lot of. I hadn't listened to a podcast, but I was watching a lot of YouTube. Um, Watching a couple good YouTubers. Star Wars Explains It All, or Star Wars Explains, and Urban Acolyte. And I was also watching some really shitty YouTubers. Um, that, at one point were good YouTubers, but just figured out they could make more money being assholes. And, whatever. And I was like, you know what, I want to make some Star Wars friends. How am I going to do that? So, I think it was January 28th or 29th. I had Facebook. That was it. I had a day off from school. And on January, whatever the next day was, the 29th or the 30th, I had a separate Facebook page for TooMedToo. I had a YouTube channel. I had Twitter, Instagram, a couple other things that I don't even think exist anymore. And I just started putting out content, not knowing what I was doing. Had, really no clue. I still have no clue because you look at my content compared to a lot of other people's. I know they say don't compare, but if I'm human, I'm going to compare. Um, you know, just started making content and putting stuff out there. I don't know if I actually did any YouTube yet, but I was getting active on Twitter and finding people to talk to on Twitter, and still really didn't know anything that was going on about anything when it comes to this. I had no one to ask, how do I do this, or what to do, or can you give me some pointers or anything. And so my birthday is February 16th, and I'm one of those people for my birthday, okay, fine. If we don't do anything on my birthday, we don't have to do something on my birthday with, like, for me and my girlfriend. It's not that big of a deal to me. Holidays, not that holidays aren't a big deal, but if I'm by myself on Christmas, there's worse things there can be than by yourself on Christmas. I can go the next week, to be with my family and have fake Christmas, or second Christmas, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's because the whole nursing thing, Anthony, for the 2-1B. It took me I did a lot of thinking about it. I thought about it for a day, but it just kind of, when I came across TooMedToo, I was like, that's perfect, for me. But so I was sitting here, and I think my girlfriend was going to work, um, and I get a DM on Twitter that says, "Hey man, I see you're in New York City. There's a bunch of podcasters um, getting together if you want to meet up." And no idea who this person is. I don't even think I wasn't even following them. No idea how this person found me. Just, through the grace of the force. And I'm like, all right. And I asked my girlfriend, I was like, what should I do? Should, you wanted to do something. It was because it was the day after my birthday. Do you want, and it was when one of the toy fairs was going on or whatever it is. And I was just like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, well, no, if you want to go make friends, make friends. That's fine with me. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, most other people in the United States that they think of, um, oh, Miss Emily, she's on her way. All right. Um, Most other people, when they think of guys that like Star Wars, they're, you know, like me, big, fat, slobby, bearded men sitting in, the basement, having their mom bring them Hot Pockets and whatever. That I use this analogy. There's a South Park episode of some guy that's beating all the kids in video games, and it looks like he hasn't showered in weeks or left his computer chair, and the um, you guys know what I'm talking about, like the stereotypical, which the stereotype's completely wrong, and this kind of goes to prove it, getting in a story. Um, yes, I know Emily very well. Um, so she's like, yeah, go meet him if you want to. So I take the guy's name, and I scroll. I start doing a little stalking because I have no idea. I don't want to walk into, you know, three or four dudes sitting in a corner arguing over who shot first, Greedo or Han, and in my mind, that's what I'm walking into. Um, and this is fucking hilarious. So I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna go hit him up on Facebook and see. And this is about a year and a half ago. I don't know if you guys remember when um, there was an app that took your profile picture and it turned guys into girls. Not like this last app that just came out that was like really like catfishy, where you could take the ugliest guy and turn him into a pretty girl. It was just like, all right, and I didn't know that this app, like, it was an app. I just thought it was this guy's picture, and I was like, all right. And my girlfriend's like, what? I was like, I don't know. It's a really pretty guy. I think it's a transvestite, but and I was just making a statement of fact, or what I thought was whatever. Um, Not that it really matters. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go meet this person and meet just see what's up. So it was Johnny Grasso. Um, and now I'm like, okay, so I'm like, I'm going to meet these people. I only know one of them, or who one of them is, and I don't really know anything about them. I looked through his Facebook really quick, but you can't really tell that much from it. You can't really tell that much from his Twitter. So the first podcast I ever listened to was on the train on the way to go to this meetup. Um, and I was listening to it, and I was like, all right, these guys seem, Rogue One seems pretty good. I uh, and I was just like, all right, well, so I go and I meet them, and there's about 20 people all over this bar. I don't know anybody, um, and there's people here, people there. Johnny just starts walking around going, oh, this is this person, this is that person, introducing to me, and I have no idea who anybody is. And well, that's about the end of the. Well, no, that's about the end of the good part. That's kind of it. But start just walking around and talking to people, and then I went from being like, oh, okay, feeling out like everybody here is cool, everyone's nice, everyone's talking to me, like I'm just some guy walking off the street, they don't know anything about me, and I'm like included with them into like their groups and conversations, um, and you know, I mean that's pretty much that's how it started. And my girlfriend made the a couple texts to me to make sure I was okay. I was like, yeah, everything's fine, everything's fine. But yeah, so I mean, I met a lot of people there. Some people I don't ever remember. Um, and yes, I know Emily. Emily was there. Um, Anthony. Um, so I met her that first time. I didn't know who was a podcaster, who was not a podcaster. I didn't know anything um, about it till I started talking with them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I have a podcaster. Oh, I do this." Um, you know, but I was annoying as fuck because I went from not knowing anybody or anyone to ask questions, um, or how things work or what do I do and this and that and everything, to you know every person I started talking to. Oh, okay. Who are you? Oh, all right. That's great. No idea who they. It doesn't matter who they are. Um, you know, like I was. I was talking to Dom from Star Wars Underworld, and you know, no idea that he's got one of the biggest Star Wars podcasts out there, um, or anything, you know. Um, but I was just like, here. I was like, where are you on Twitter? And he tells me, and I couldn't find it. I was searching for it, I couldn't find it. And I give him my phone. And he's like, oh, you already got me on there. So it's like I was following these people that I didn't know, anything about who they were. You know, never listened to podcasts, hanging out with all these podcasters, and Araj was there. Um, the guys from the Alliance were there. Gerard was there. Um, I don't know where Pappas was. He came in way later, or I didn't realize he was there till later on. So yeah, I went from, you know, in the matter of one tweet from Johnny Grasso, from me having no Star Wars friends to this laundry list of podcasters that, you know, some of them had huge followings, some of them had um, decent followings. I don't know what their numbers are, so I mean I can't really tell you. Um, I guess just, yeah. So that's pretty much you know my story, and then um, that was in February, and then talking with them a little bit here and there. Um, met the Rogue One Army, um, which is the East Coast family of making Star Wars. Um, met them at New York Comic Con and hung out with them. I think Araj and Les were both here for that from the Sith List. I had met Araj before. I don't know if I said that. Um, and then Celebration rolls around, and the house they had, Echo Base, was all full. So I was planning on having a hotel room by myself because, you know, even though I knew a bunch of these people, um, I didn't really know them, I guess. And then towards the last minute, spot opened up at the house, and I got in there. And then I lived with, the people at the house for 5 days, and not with one set person or one group of people for the entire time, but um, you know, it was the Cannonbite Girls and Sith List and Bad Motivators and Will Communication. Yeah, I think that's about it. So it was just funny because I got thrown into, you know, everything happened perfectly from, you know, um, yeah, and that's how I met the Scruffy guys because they were staying um, upstairs from us. Um, yeah, that's why I say it was just like, so amazing because, like, unless I myself became a really big podcaster or YouTube star, um, like my story into the fandom as like something you could write a movie about. I mean, nobody would want to see a movie about me, but you know, I'm just making the correlation of like if you were, you know, told somebody, oh, um, write a movie, you know, about somebody that goes from knowing no one to knowing all these people, and you know, so I mean, it's just weird because a lot of people when they like when we were at Celebration, um, were afraid to go up to, you know, whatever podcast and introduce themselves or say, "Hey, I listen to you guys. You know, you guys are great," or whatever. And then afterwards would be like, you know, when they came back, they'd write into the call into the show or write in the show or send a message on Twitter, and I was like, "Why didn't you come up and say anything?" So I never really had that because I wasn't listening to podcasts or anything. You know, I always joke around that they found me, I didn't find them. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so what else we got? Oh, that first night at the bar I did. That's why I said I was, you know, I apologized to them for a while after that because I was just, well, how do I do this? What do I do for this? And it was just, you know, it, I was more like interrogating them. Um, you know, that's why, you know, I still joke around with them or certain, you know, certain people every once in a while. You know that I'm really annoying or um, when I saw Dom from Star Wars Underworld at Celebration, I was walking by the booth and he's like, Mike, come here. And I was like, oh, hey, what's going on? You know, and I made some comment about me always annoying him or somebody posted something about voting for him for president, even though he's Canadian. And, you know, I had some comment about not, you know, annoying him. I mean, I'm annoying, I know that. But not annoying him in that way is what I should say. All right, so ask you guys questions. I don't know. See, I'm not good at this part. See, it's tough for me because, like, with Rural Farm Boy, him and I were in all the same chat rooms this weekend together, or all live streams together. So let's see. All right, so who are your favorite? If you could, who's your favorite Star Wars character for all of you? Now, is that dang Darth Vader like that was easy, or dang as in that was a tough one? I don't know. You told me to ask you questions. I'm just asking you questions. I mean, because mine's easy. My favorite one's Chewbacca. Um, Probably just because as watching, you know, the original trilogy when it came out or shortly came out. Um, like we were talking, like I was saying earlier, I remember him off of HBO. I really remember Return of the Jedi. I think that was my favorite because of the Ewoks. I think like if 5 or 6 year old me got to pick, I would have picked Ewoks, or I would have picked that movie because of the Ewoks. Um, but probably like when I first saw it, Chewbacca was probably my favorite, just because I think most kids at that age would pick Chewbacca. He just kind of always stayed my favorite. But oh yeah, that's I guess the other part of my origin story. So I had a bunch of Star Wars books that I started collecting. Not like EU books or um, whatever, or like novels, but like reference books and all different types of reference books, and things that aren't canon because they're from 1980 or whatever it is. Um, and when I went to Comic Con with those guys, and they were wheeling and dealing and um, trying to get whatever, and I came home and I was like, I'm gonna go on eBay and I'm gonna see if there's anything that I like. Well, there was a lot I liked. um, I picked up almost all the San Diego Comic Con Black Series from, well, probably not almost all of them, but probably about 8 or 10 of them. Um, and then just like the regular Black Series, the first ones I got were or wanted were ones that I remember having as toys. The when I was a kid. Um, and it actually took me a while to realize that that's why I was looking for, the AT-AT driver, um, and just, I mean, a bunch of, different ones that I was looking for that they don't make, and I didn't know they didn't make it because, you know, once again, I had no one to show me the ropes or to, you know, talk to, or not that I couldn't talk to people, but I wanted to do it myself because I didn't want to bother anyone or annoy anyone else. And it's like, it probably ended up costing me a lot of money because I could have probably found them a lot cheaper, or got groups or whatever. Um, now I've learned when I want something to hold off on it. Um, and I now have a better idea what the prices are on what the prices of certain things are and how to gauge those prices, and just I've learned a lot more about collecting now, so I know uh, to hold on, and I don't need it right away. I can wait and see, and it doesn't sound like much, but it might only be $5 or $10 cheaper. But when you're talking about however many items, um, those couple dollars here and there add up, or free shipping versus not free shipping, or um, you know, yeah, you guys understand what I'm talking about. I don't need to drone on about that. Qui-Gon's a good one. Um, it's because Qui-Gon's a little bit different. Um, I don't think I realized at the time that he was different than the other Jedi, and I didn't. When I was whatever 19 or 20 years old. Um, when I was going to say the first one came out, but the only one he's in. I didn't realize that the Jedi were the downfall of themselves. Um, I don't even think I realized that through the first, all three of the movies. Um, but Qui-Gon knew, like, listen, we're going in the wrong direction. Um, you know, but that's why I'm hoping we get yeah. I mean, when I went to go see it, I was probably drunk or high and just thought he was some hippie dude that was some hippie Jedi, which I mean, he really was, but um, you know, that's the way the Jedi are supposed to be. I was gonna say something before and then I forgot that. All right, so we don't have any news or anything that came out. No, I'm talking about like through the first. Well, I said first three movies, but I should have said 4, 5, and 6. Um, but 4, 5, and 6 are really 1, 2, and 3. So I don't know. The prequels, even with Sith. Um, when I was watching Sith, it was what, 2005. I don't even know. I was still, you know, still doing my own thing. I may have been living in North Carolina by then, depending on. I'm not really sure. Um, doing my own thing, and you know, probably, I don't really know, but I'm guessing that I thought, Sidious did it. He tricked them when it was actually, their fault. They let it happen. I guess. Well, because there was that Reddit leak. Yeah, I'm down for spoilers because like there was that Reddit leak that everybody was going crazy about, um, and Girls with Sabers um, did did a live chat about it, um, and then Jason Ward did like a 10-minute video this morning that came out. Um, and I mean, the video was just basically he was saying, um, everybody's flipping out on this guy for releasing these spoilers because they can't be true because they're not what they want the movie to be. And a couple of things he said in there, I've confirmed. Um, so no, I know Girls with Sabers were talking about the Reddit leak, and then he was talking about the Reddit leak too. But he was defending the guy because he was saying that he can't confirm everything that the guy's saying, but he knows a lot of the stuff he says was true. There's a new thing? What was the... From the video he did today? Is that what you're talking about? Well, I mean, some of the rumors, I don't think are true. Some of them sound very plausible. Anthony, you talking about this latest one from the video from today? Or is there one I'm missing? Because I didn't listen to the, I didn't listen to the podcast. Um, episode 279, spoiler episode. Did I? Yeah, because it's like a 10-minute video. I don't know. I can never. Well, because he put out a new podcast this afternoon or right before I came on, and but he put out a YouTube video this morning. But I didn't listen to. I don't. I think I've said it like 3 times. I didn't listen to the podcast, but I watched the YouTube video. In the YouTube video, he was just um, I know, but the YouTube video was he was just confirming what the Reddit leak, certain things in the Reddit leak. That way, if someone, or that things in the Reddit leak were true, whether or not they're all true, I don't know. And he even said he doesn't know, but he can confirm some of them. Um, and it was a lot. The YouTube video was about some people want to know, some people don't want to know. If you don't want to know, um, you know, block making Star Wars, um, block keywords. People that like me want to know and don't care. If I find out, because I'm sure by the time the movie comes out in 3 or 4 months, I'm gonna have most of it spoiled for me. Um, you know, don't repeat. I'm not gonna go repeat things. I really, in case there's anyone on here that was on here and didn't get off in time or wants to stay on here, I didn't really say anything. I'll say it's gonna be a spoiler. Um, Before I talk about it, or if somebody new comes on here and I notice it, I'll let them know. Um, I mean, see. I tried to stay away from spoilers. Um, and you can do your best job not paying attention and um, you know, staying vigilant not to find things out. But I was walking into um, The Force Awakens, and somebody was walking out, and I can't believe they killed Han Solo, or I can't believe, um, you know, whatever, something along those lines, that he killed his father, or something. Um, and my nephew had heard. I think my nephew went to that one with me and my dad. Um, you know, he found out a day, heard about it a day or two. So it's kind of like, no matter how. Oh, I know it's horrible if you don't want to know, and that's why I would never sit here and say, "Oh, I know this," or, um, you know, right now the things that are coming out aren't very. They're still spoilers, but they're not significant to the plot. Um, I say not significant to the plot because, like, um, yeah, you know, I mean, just like you look at the article and it's a picture of, um, without saying anything, because, you know, it says spoiler: Ray's family. Um, but there's a picture too, so you got to think maybe there's more than, you know. Okay, so now we're gonna find out if why C-3PO's eyes are red, and why Ray is dark, and, um, why Kylo is this, or, you know, just, I mean, just going by the picture, it's those are just what's in the picture. So you have to assume that, um, you know, none of those things are that big of a deal, or not that big of a deal to the plot or the story. Um, but I haven't listened to, um, the podcast. Yeah. And you might decide you never want to go hunting for Black Series figures again, and you're walking through a parking lot somewhere, and some Black Series figure falls out of somebody's bag. You know, I mean, that's what I'll do my best if I'm talking about spoilers, not um, to, you know, let it be known that there's going to be, you know, we're talking about a spoiler, or, you know, this could be spoilers, or, um, you know, whatever it is. There was something else I was going to say before we started going about this. See, I think, Anthony, I think what might have happened is, I think they made the podcast, and then this morning, Jason did a video about it, but I mean, I'm just speculating, because I just know, I don't know if you watched the YouTube video or not. Um, you know, it was just it was basically defending the guy that put out the leak, because the guy was taking so much heat for putting the leak out when none of the stuff can be true because it's so crazy. And it's like, well, he got the things that aren't crazy, he got those right. But but that even before the Reddit leak, um, that came out, I guess it would have came out Friday or Saturday. Um, hang on a second. I kind of I don't even know where my dog is. Delilah. Oh, she's in bed. Okay. Um, even before the Reddit leak that the guy, I guess, confirmed or whatever. Um, the one that I don't know where I heard it, but I heard it a while ago that this one thing was in the movie, but they didn't have any context about it. And then Saturday, this thing that I heard about, um, plays a role in this leak, but I don't know what it was from. It could have been from Jason saying on an episode that, oh well, I heard there's this or something like that. But I mean, Jason's good because he has to have it confirmed, um, from a few sources before he'll say anything. Oh no, there's plenty of times and plenty of leaks that are gonna. Um, but um, I was in a car with Jason and Mike Pappas, for like an hour at Celebration, and we were trying to get leaks out of him and stuff, and he wouldn't tell us anything because he didn't have them confirmed. So, just a couple of guys shooting the shit. We wanted to know. Maybe after a couple of drinks or whatever, it would have been a different story. But um, you know, Jason doesn't really know me, and maybe that was the problem. Maybe I was, um, you know. But yeah, we didn't even talk about Star Wars, Charles. It's like that's the funny thing. It's so I'm not going to be around on, for New York Comic Con. I'm going to be in St. Louis. It's my girlfriend's grandmother's 100th birthday, so it's her birthday party. Um, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be here. And like the funny thing is, when everybody gets together and meets up, either before the con or during the con, it's talking about like real life things. It's not talking about Star Wars or whatever. And then for a while it'll be Star Wars when you're talking about Star Wars and I want to go here, I want to go there, and like, um, you know, trying to get thing or whatever. Um, and then like after afterwards when everybody goes to the bar to hang out, or it's really not that much Star Wars talk, or other collecting talk, whether whatever it is. A couple of the guys like Transformers, a couple of them like He-Man, a couple of them like this or that, other fandoms. It's a little bit of talk about that, but it's other like real life things. She's got some good stories. She's she's really funny. Um, you know, she yeah. I was trying to think of how to say some things, but I couldn't get it through my head without it not being right. But um, I don't know if I'm gonna have time. I'm I'm actually, I think I'm meeting up. I'm gonna go on Thursday and Friday. Um, I don't have tickets yet. I still have to buy tickets, but I'm gonna go Thursday and Friday um, to Comic Con, and then I'm gonna fly out Saturday at like 12 and get to St. Louis at 2. I have to be dressed and at church at 9 o'clock on Sunday. Um, and then I don't know. Sunday's the party, and then I'm leaving Monday. Um, there's a couple of us that are going to meet up on Friday. Um, when I said I'm not going to the con, I meant the big meetup that's going to be Saturday. That um, you know, there's a couple of us from New York City, but there's other people from Jersey and Pennsylvania. Um, Dom will be here. I'm assuming he goes to everything. Um, so yeah, I really don't know yet. I still have to figure out because I haven't bought my plane ticket there yet. Um, so it might change. I might need to go a day or two earlier, depending on. Well, actually, me flying out Saturday and coming back Monday is the cheapest. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because my dog. She's just old. She's she's like a 60-pound toddler, and trying to get someone to take care of her and watch her, it's you know not the easiest thing in the world. If she's having a bad day, she might need to be carried down the stairs or carried up the stairs. Um, you know, just things like that. So that makes it. I can't just get a dog walker. I was gonna say get a dog walker out of the yellow pages, but I don't even know if they have those anymore. All right, Charles, you have a good night. I'm thinking about calling it quits here pretty soon, also. All right, Anthony. I think I'm going to call this show. We'll talk to each other in the Twitterverse. And we'll talk to each other next week. I think I might I don't know. I'll talk to those guys. If they usually do a 7 o'clock one, I can always bump mine up a little bit. I mean, back a little bit. I don't know how long they do theirs for. You know, mine seem to be going about an hour and a half. Or so. You know, would have probably been a lot shorter this week if I didn't have my origin story. So I'll have to figure something out. Maybe I can just, on weeks there's no news, I'll just talk about how much I hate Star Wars. That seems to work for a lot of other people, huh? But all right, my friend. I'm gonna click this to go, and then I'll probably talk to you shortly. And the other form of communication being the Twitterverse. May the force be with you. I said good day. Is it still going? I don't know. Oh. Why the fuck is this still going? You son of a bitch. Click on there.